Hi guys, Jangro here, and welcome to episode 9 of this Valhelsia Enhanced Vanilla Hardcore playthrough. We've been progressing long enough that we have enough points to get to level 30 mining, and you know what that means. We can get started on Applied Energistics. So we're going to do that today. There's two things that Applied Energistics do for us. That gives us mass storage, and it gives us autocrafting, and some other things later, but those are the two major benefits. In this episode, we're going to get ourselves from 0 in Applied Energistics up to 64K storage and more. And we're going to do it all in this one episode, step by step. So stay tuned. All right, so the first thing we need to do to start with Applied Energistics is to raid some meteors. Oh. I did not see that creeper there. We always fix our creeper holes. Feeling a little invulnerable. That didn't even cost me any hearts. Huh. All right, so there's a meteor over here, as we know. And we need to go to the meteors with mining level 30, which is why this is taking us a while. So we can dig the skystone out of the meteor and then get to the center of it. And in the center of a meteor is some Fluix blocks and a chest. And we know where one meteor is. And we'll see what we get for inscribers in here. There's always inscribers in the chest in the center of a meteor. You can see here we're not getting the skystone drops, so we need to upgrade our mining to level 30. And now the skystone, we can break it, and the Fluix block as well needs level 30. What do we got? Engineering press, logic press. All right, pretty cool. 2 of them so far. So we're going to need to go find another meteor. And looking around, you can see we've already wandered pretty far and not have found a meteor yet. There's a meteor compass available that will show you where the next meteor is, but since we have a map, I find that it's just as easy to just wander around, and we need to wander around anyway, because we haven't done that yet. Up until recently, these Terralith biomes did not spawn Tech Reborn ores, but that has been resolved, and we're going to start to see Tech Reborn ores in these biomes. This is pretty fun wandering around. Honestly, we have been avoiding exploring because of that ore gen issue. All right, this is a really cool cave. So you can see up top some Tech Reborn ores. Should we go check it out? We've got things to do, but can't resist a cool looking cave like this. Let's scope it out. Wow. This is pretty cool. This would be a neat place for a base. Whoa. I don't know where he came from. Okay, that cost me some hearts. Maybe this isn't such a great idea. Let's get out of here. Gah. What? Oh, half a heart. Eat. All right, we got to get out of here. All right, let's get back on track here. There's a meteor over there to the east. Let's run over and continue our mission to find some inscribers in these things. So here's meteor number 2. What do we got here? A silicon press. Nice, we need that. Get this Fluix block. And off to find the next one. This is a pretty cool biome. It's like a moonlight valley, I think it's called. It's got some amethyst growing here, but from what I can tell, there's not full amethyst that we can mine. And it probably doesn't grow. Pretty cool looking biome. All right, we've wandered pretty far here, but we found our third meteorite. But wow, look at this spot. We're going to need to definitely come back and explore that cave. And another Moonlight Valley biome over there. This would be a good place for a base. Maybe phase 2, once we have wireless connectivity for our storage, we'll create a second base over here. I like this spot a lot. All right, let's see what we've got inside this meteorite. Through the Fluix blocks, there's the chest. It's calculation. This is the one we need. We'll find out when we pick it up. And yes, you get this advancement when you get all 4 inscribers. All right, let's clean up. And let's head back home. But man, I love this spot. Let's go take a peek. Wow. Those are artificiality crystals down there. What a massive cave this is. Do we go deeper? No. Let's just head home. Let's not get ourselves into trouble. Definitely coming back here. Mountaintop was the closest one, now to the warehouse, and we are ready to start Applied Energistics 2. All right, the first thing we're going to want to make is an inscriber, which is made with copper, iron, and a couple of sticky pistons. Slime balls and diamonds, you need a few of each to get started, but fortunately we've got some. We need to put the inscriber down next to some power. AE2 has a thing called a vibration chamber, which is a generator, but we can use Tech Reborn power for this. So this inscriber, it says it's offline because it's not connected to a controller, but it is powered, which we'll see when we give it a try. Now these presses are what we use in the inscriber. It's a 2-stage process. First we press the raw material and get a printed circuit, and we combine that with printed silicon with redstone in the inscriber to get the processor. In this case, we want to make an ME controller, which requires an engineering processor, and that requires an engineering circuit, which is made by pressing a diamond with the engineering press. So we'll grab a diamond and the engineering press and go over to our inscriber, and we put the press in one spot and the diamond in the middle, and you can see it's working. And now we have our printed engineering circuit. Now, in order to make the engineering processor, we need to combine that with silicon, pressed silicon. And to make silicon, we need to smelt some Certus quartz dust. So we'll grab a couple stacks and throw those into our super smelter. The only way to get Certus quartz dust is from mining it. Fortunately, it's really easy to find, and we found a lot of it as we've been playing for a while. All right, we're going to start to see the silicon come out, and here it comes. While we're waiting for that to cook and head over to our output chest, we also need Fluix. Fluix crystals, we can grow these, but we've got a lot of this Fluix blocks from the meteorite, so we can just break those into Fluix crystals. All right, let's head back down and get our silicon. Here it comes. We put that in the Inscriber with the silicon press. You can see this is a pretty slow process. And we can do things to automate this and speed it up, which we will do a little bit later in this episode. But now we've got one printed silicon, which again, we need to make an engineering processor. So we need an engineering circuit, printed silicon, and some redstone in the Inscriber. So we put the printed silicon, the printed engineering circuit, and redstone in the Inscriber. And as you can see, that's a pretty slow process. And we're going to automate that later. But for now, there we go. We've got our engineering circuit. And now we need Skystone Block, which we get from Skystone, which we have to also cook in the smelter. So let's take our Skystone back down to our super smelter and drop that in there. And here it comes now. And heading over to our output chest, we've got some Skystone block. And that's enough for now. The controller needs just 4 of those, I think. And now we can make our controller. All right, now the controller needs power. So we put that also on the Tech Reborn cable. And now we're online. Now before we get too far, let's take a look at the advancements. And some of the early stuff that we still need to cover is growing Fluix dust and creating charged Certus quartz, which are both needed as ingredients in a lot of the things that we're going to be making. So let's make a charger. It's just some iron and copper, similar to the Inscriber, but no pistons. And now the charger needs to be powered. It needs to be powered on the top or the bottom. So I could sit it right on top of those cables, but you can also sit it on top of a controller, which will provide power to things. So we put it up here, and we need some crystal to charge. And we put Certus quartz crystal in it, and it just turns it into charged Certus quartz crystal. Just right click. And sometimes it takes longer than other times, but it just is automatic. And you just right click and put it on and right click to take it off. Now, so far we've been lucky enough to have Certus quartz crystals that we found mining, but eventually we're going to have to grow them. And you grow Certus quartz crystals and you grow Fluix crystals by tossing seeds or some materials in water. And that takes a very long time. So if you throw a seed in water, it takes 20 minutes. But we're going to make an accelerator. And that's what this thing right here is. And it's going to speed up that growing process by a lot. And since we're fast tracking here, we're going to make an accelerator. So we need some quartz fiber to make that. Which we can then use to make Fluix glass cable, which is the basic connector in these ME storage networks. Back to the recipe, we need quartz glass, which is glass and Certus quartz dust. We just need Fluix block, which we've got lots over here. And now we can make our crystal growth accelerator. Now this needs to be powered. So we're going to run this Fluix cable that we made over here and just kind of tuck this accelerator over here to the side. We're going to move everything after we kind of get this basic setup going. Now that didn't connect. And that dot on top is maybe a hint that we need to run the cable up to the top. But we're going to put the water in that little spot right there. All right, needed to run for some water. Drop the water in here. And now since this isn't connecting, we need to go grab a couple pieces of Fluix cable. And now if we run this up to the top, there it connects, and now it's powered. All right, let's make some Certus quartz and Fluix crystals. To make Certus quartz, we need a Certus quartz seed, which we get from sand and Certus quartz dust. You get 2 seeds from 1 dust and a sand, so it's pretty good. So we'll do a few stacks. And for Fluix crystal, there's a Fluix seed. Same thing, you throw it in water, and you get that from Fluix dust and sand. Now, Fluix dust you can't mine, you have to make it. So you, with redstone, nether quartz, and charged Certus quartz, throw them into water, and you get 2 Fluix dust. Okay, now here we are standing over our water, and we're going to throw in 2 Certus quartz seeds, and we'll throw in 2 Fluix seeds. You can throw as many in as you want. You can throw also entire stacks in from your inventory instead of doing one at a time. Now, if you get too close, you'll pick them up, but they'll never despawn. And so from here, we just wait. They'll start to grow. Now, this works exactly the same way with or without the accelerator, though if we did not have the accelerator, this process would take about 20 minutes. With the accelerator, with one accelerator, it takes about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. And when they're done, they float to the top where you can grab them easily. And there they are. Now they're both finished. Just jump down here, pick them up off the top. And likewise, let's throw in some nether quartz, some charged Certus quartz, and some redstone. And no time lapse here. That's really quick. And so there we have some Fluix dust. Okay, let's next make our crafting terminals. We need formation cores and annihilation cores, which require logic processors, which fortunately we've already made some. So there we have those. And next we need the illuminated panel. And for that we need some pretty easy quartz glass, glowstone, and redstone. Most of which we have. I think we need to make another batch of quartz glass. Yes, one more. So that's easy. Glass and Certus quartz dust. And now we can make these illuminated panels. We get 3 of them. We only need 1 for this. And now we have an ME terminal, but we need an ME crafting terminal, which needs that terminal plus a crafting table plus a calculation processor. So I don't think we have a calculation processor, so let's grab some silicon and some Certus quartz crystal that we're going to use in the Inscriber. We head over to the Inscriber, and so you see here that we have to do these one at a time. So we have to keep clicking to drop one single Certus quartz crystal in here. And we're doing this, I'm doing this just to show you kind of how tedious it is. So now we need the calculation circuit plus the printed silicon and some redstone to get our calculation processor. We'll just make a few of these. But there are some ways to automate this, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But now we've got our calculation processor. Let's finish up this terminal. We need a crafting table. And now we can make our crafting terminal, which needs to connect to a controller. It can either go directly on the controller or it can go on some of this Fluix cable. We'll just drop it right here. We can open it up, and now we have a terminal. And we can't put anything in here because we don't have any storage yet. But this is where all the action happens as far as looking at your inventory and crafting things from it. But we need a ME drive. Before we do any more crafting here, let's just to see how this works, we can start to automate this by putting hoppers. Now the hopper on the top will go into that top slot, on the side into that middle slot, and on the bottom going to that bottom slot. But as you know, you can't put a hopper on the bottom of something. So you see here the silicon is being fed by the hopper into the middle slot. So we've automated silicon production because there's only one input that we need for that. Okay, for the ME drive, we need 2 engineering processors. So let's just make those quickly while we're here. And head on over and create our ME drive. We do need one more glass cable for that. And now we have our drive. So let's go put it on our network over here. It also needs to connect either directly to the controller or to the cable. We'll just drop it right here for now. And again, we're going to move things around. One more optimization that we can do, because we're going to need to make a bunch more processors, is with an acceleration card, just to make that go faster. So let's make a few acceleration cards. We need these kind of template cards, first of all. And they're kind of expensive. Need a few diamonds and a calculation processor. We've already got a calculation processor here, and we've got some diamonds. So we'll make these 2 advanced cards. Just grab some redstone and some Fluix crystals, and now we can make 2 acceleration cards, which we will put in our Inscriber that we've already got creating some printed circuits over here, and you can see how much faster it goes. Now to truly automate this, we need to get a wrench so we can rotate the Inscriber, allowing us to get hoppers in and out of all of the sides. So we'll quickly make a wrench out of some Certus quartz. You can make it out of Certus quartz, charged Certus quartz, or nether quartz. Let's put it over here out of the way so we can work all around it. Let's break our Inscriber. The things that are in there will fall out. And we'll just put it over here, kind of up in the air 1 block so we can get to the underside as well. And we'll just put it right here, hovering in the air. And so now we've got the same issue where we cannot insert on the bottom of something with a hopper. So here's where the wrench comes in handy, because we can right-click once on it and it will rotate it. So now the top is over to the side and the output slot is down on the bottom, which we can pull from with a hopper. So let's grab our hoppers and a chest, and we'll put the output now on the bottom, which is the side of the Inscriber, rotated. A hopper on the bottom, a hopper on the top, and we climb up here and put another hopper on the input side. And now all these hoppers will feed their corresponding slots. So if we put some printed silicon in this hopper, you see it drops in there. We put printed circuit on this side and it goes right in. And we put redstone in this hopper and that goes into the middle slot. And as soon as it makes that, the hopper on the bottom pulls it out and it goes into the chest. And here they are. And we'll just store our processors in that chest for now. And we can fill these hoppers up with multiple kinds of printed circuits. Make sure the redstone is filled up. We actually added a 3rd acceleration card, and it's nice and quick. And we can now walk away and it will create these processors without us having to stand here filling it up. And that's great news because we are going to need a ton of them for the next step. Now, I said this was automated. It's not even as automated as it can be, but this will do for now. We'll do the full automation in an upcoming episode when we do autocrafting. All right, now we are finally ready to create our 64K ME item storage cell. And if we look in here, it needs a storage component and a storage housing. And the 64K storage component needs 3 16K storage components, plus a calculation processor and some other things. The 16K requires 3 4K and the 4K requires 3 1K storage components. And if we do the math, that's 3 16K storage components, each of which need 3 4K storage components, each of which need 3 1K storage components. So 3 times 3 times 3 is 27 1K storage components and all the things that go with them. And that adds up to a lot of crafting. But I've pulled together all of the things, which is 108 Certus quartz crystals, 27 logic processors, 27 calculation processors, 16 glowstone, 13 quartz glass, and 144 redstone. So if I've done all my math correctly, we should be able to just grab all these things, go over to the crafting table, and just craft these things very quickly. So first we start with the 27 1K storage components, and there they all are. Put those in our inventory. Now we need 9 4K storage components, and there those are. And now we need 3 16K storage components, and we've got everything we need for that, which should leave us with just enough things to make the 64K storage component. Perfect. Now the last step is that we need to put that storage unit inside a storage housing, which is just some quartz glass, redstone, and iron. And we grab that, and now we have our storage disk, which we can now go over and put it in our disk drive. So we just right click on the ME drive, put the storage cell in there, and now our system can hold 64K items. So we click on the crafting terminal, we can just move stuff in here now. You can see they show up in that upper space in the terminal. So now if we go over and look at the disk, we can see that we're storing 4633 bytes or items and 9 of 63 types of items. And this is the critical thing about these storage cells, is that while a 64K unit holds a ton of items, it only holds 63 types of items. So having one 64K storage disk is actually not a great start, unless we wanted to fill it up with a very large number of very few types of items, like cobblestone. So let's address that by making some more storage cells. And we've got exactly the number of things here to make 2 16K storage cells. And we're going to go through the exact same process. And we start with a 16K storage cell, for which we would need 6 4K storage components. And for each of those, we need 3 1K storage components. So let's make all of the 1K storage components, which is 18 of them. And we just need to trust that our math was correct. And from here, we need to make 6 4K storage components. So there's our 6 4K storage components. Now, instead of making 2 16s, I think we'll just make 1. And then we'll make 3 4K storage components. That will allow us 4 times 63 different types of items stored. And we lose 4K of space. I think that's a pretty good trade-off right now. All of this becomes less of an issue when we have unlimited storage components and auto crafting, and we can just do all this stuff automatically. So now we also need to put the quartz and redstone and iron in to get the housing. And so we'll just make a bunch of these storage housings. Because we'll be using these eventually. So there's 7 of those, and now we can just put the storage cells, storage components in the housing and get the storage cells. Now, before we fill these up with items, it's worth mentioning that you can take a storage cell and right click in the air with it as long as it's empty, and it will take it apart again. And then you can take these storage components and use them later to make bigger storage cells. Let's put it back together again for now, and we'll stick these in our ME drive. And now we have 5 times 63 types of items to store. and 63 plus 16 plus 12,000 items that we can store in total. So what's that? 92K items. Which means now we can take all of the output from the recycler, all these different random items, and all the things that we've been collecting in, I don't know, 16 chests downstairs. All the things, except for the big mass items like cobblestone, sand, gravel, clay balls. We won't put those in there yet because that'll just use up the space too quickly. Now this terminal is really cool because it gives obviously full access to everything, but you can search, you can sort by different things like mod name, item name, number of items, ascending, descending, all sorts of control over your items. So this is great. And we're going to wrap up the episode here. We went from 0 to 92,000 item storage with Applied Energistics in just one short, or not so short episode. The next thing we need to do with Applied Energistics is get going with autocrafting, which is going to allow us to get much more quickly into Tech Reborn. I've been holding off on Tech Reborn for that reason. It's very tedious doing all the crafting. We're going to automate all of it. We're also going to need a lot more power, or we're going to run out and lose access to our items. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe. It helps a lot. Like and comment. Let me know what you think. So we'll see you next time.